Okay, to pick up where we left off. So Macbeth and Banquo are trying to laugh off the witch's visit, and because it was such a weird and unusual event. And Banquo says, "Were such things here as we do speak about, or have we eaten on the insane root that takes reason prisoner?" Basically, like, dude, what have we been smoking? In order to just kind of laugh it off. But they can't even finish laughing it off before Ross and Angus enter with some news. You have seen this information before. They are basically recapping for us what happened in Act 1, Scene 2, because the readers know that Duncan is aware of Macbeth's heroic acts, but Macbeth doesn't know that yet. Dramatic irony. So we also looked at some of these lines in your paraphrase activity in the last lesson. So you should be familiar with this. The king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success, and we are sent to give our royal masters thanks. And then those of you who played the Pass the Line game will also recognize some of the lines from Pass the Line. However, you can also use this translation feature on myshakespeare.com to help you to understand this long speech by Ross, where he's basically summing up Act 1, Scene 2 for Macbeth. What you need to pay attention, though, is the way Macbeth responds to their long speeches, just basically praising him. There is a literary feature or a dramatic feature here that you need to be aware of, and it is the aside. You need to be watching these stage directions as we read because they let us know important things about who the actors are talking to or what they are doing. The word aside is when an actor is talking to another character or to the audience. And so the myshakespeare.com seems to be showing the aside to mean when he's talking to the audience, and then just to say to Ross or Angus or to Banquo when he's talking to just that character. It's important to know who the actors are talking to, though, because in an aside, the actor is basically sharing their internal thoughts. They are sharing their thoughts with the audience. And so we need to notice that because they're going to reveal things maybe that they're not revealing to other characters. Similarly, when Macbeth draws Banquo aside and he's speaking only to Banquo and not Ross and Angus, he's trying to share secrets with him and talk to him about this weird event with the witches they just saw that no one else has seen. So we're going to start back up here with Ross and Angus entering.
Who's here?
The king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success. And when he reads thy personal venture in the rebels' fight, his wonders and his praises do contend which should be thine or his. Silenced with that, in viewing of the rest of the self-same day, he finds thee in the stout Norwegian ranks, nothing afeard of what thyself didst make. Strange images of death, as thick as tale, came post with post, and every one did bear thy praises in his kingdom's great defence, and poured them down before him.
We are sent to give thee from our royal master thanks, only to herald thee into his sight, not pay thee.
And for an earnest of a greater honour, he bade me from him call thee Thane of Cawdor. In which addition, hail, most worthy Thane, for it is thine.
What? Can the devil speak true?
The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes?
Who was the Thane lives yet, but under heavy judgment bears that life which he deserves to lose. Whether he was combined with those of Norway, or did line the rebel with hidden help and vantage, or that with both he laboured in his country's wrack, I know not. But treason's capital confessed and proved have overthrown him.
Glamis and Thane of Cawdor, the greatest is behind. Thanks for your pains. Do you not hope your children shall be kings, when those that gave the Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less to them?
That trusted home might yet enkindle you unto the crown besides the Thane of Cawdor. But 'tis strange, and oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles to betray us in deepest consequence. Cousins, a word, I pray you.
Two truths are told,
as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. I thank you, gentlemen. This supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good. If ill, why hath it given me earnest of success commencing in a truth? I am Thane of Cawdor. If good, why do I yield to that suggestion whose horrid image doth unfix my hair and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature? Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My thought, whose murder yet is but fantastical, shakes so my single state of man, that function is smothered in surmise, and nothing is but what is not.
Look how our partners raft.
If chance will have me king, my chance may crown me without my stir.
New honors come upon him, like our strange garments cleave not to their mold, but with the aid of use.
Come what come may, time and the hour runs through the roughest day.
Worthy Macbeth, we stay upon your leisure.
Oh, give me your favor. My dull brain was wrought with things forgotten. Kind gentlemen, your pains are registered, where every day I turn the leaf to read them. That is toward the king. Think upon what hath chanced, and at more time, the interim having waited, let us speak our free hearts, each to other.
Very gladly.
Till then enough. Come, friends.
All right, so let's break this down a little bit. After they bring the news that Macbeth has been named Thane of Cawdor, Macbeth begins to think things over. So he was kind of laughing off the witches before, but now one of their predictions has come true, and he starts to think about it a little differently. He draws Banquo over and he says, "Do you not hope your children will be kings? When those that gave them Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less." He's kind of feeling his friend out here. He's saying, okay, that's weird. Are you not starting to think maybe those witches were telling the truth? And Banquo says, yeah, and they also promised you king, but remember, whenever but comes up, we have to pay attention because something important is going to change. He says, but it's strange. Oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness, talking about the witches, will tell us truths, will win us with honest trifles. A trifle is something small and unimportant, and betray us in deepest consequence. So they'll win us with honest trifles, but they'll betray us in important matters, as it says down here in your translation. So Banquo is warning Macbeth. He says, let's don't trust them yet. Be careful. But Macbeth is already off in another internal monologue here. He says, two truths are told as happy prologues to the imperial theme. And he says, but I don't know if this is good advice or bad advice. I don't know if it's ill or bad. I don't know if it's good. He says, if it's bad, why did they tell me the truth to begin with? And he says, but if it's good, why do I yield to this temptation that's making my hair stand up on the back of my neck, making my heart knock at my ribs? And this is unnatural. There's going to be another theme that we talk about next week about nature versus unnatural. He's saying, I'm having an unnatural response to this. My present fears are less than horrible imaginings. I'm afraid of these horrible images. He says, my thought whose murder is yet fantastical shakes my single state of man. So he's had a thought pop into his head. It's a horrid image. It's a horrible imagining. It's murder. Notice that that's his first response, is if it's true that I'm going to be king, what am I going to have to do to get there? Yep. But then he pauses and he has a second thought. If chance will have me king, well, chance may crown me without my stir. We talked about this line. Maybe it'll just happen. Maybe I don't have to murder. Oh, That's a good second thought. Maybe I don't have to murder. But notice it was his second thought. He still responds to the murder like it's frightening. He's scared of this idea in his head, but it came to him. He resolves at the end of this first thought with come what come may. Come what may is a phrase that leaves it all to fate. And our theme today is about fate. So Macbeth is presented in this scene with predictions of what his fate might be, how he responds to that fate. Is it a fate where chance may crown me without his stir? Or is it a fate that is going to make him yield to the suggestion of this fantastical murder? That's where we leave Macbeth at the end of Act 1, Scene 3, trying to determine what this means. And he exits with a line to Banquo where he just says, keep thinking about what just happened. Think about what has occurred. And we'll talk about it later, basically.